Hey there, how are you today? Coach Chris Wilson sitting here with my co-host, my co-expert, Tonya Fines, and we're delighted today just to talk to you about how very powerful exercise can be when it comes to mental health and your mental condition. So we're just going to kind of talk openly, honestly, as people. Yeah, I mean, you've been in the health and exercise industry for many years now.
25 plus years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm getting there. I'm like 20. Ever since college was 20 years ago. So ever since then, I've been working in some capacity, in fitness centers and with other health experts, and learned a lot along the way. I'm sure you have too.
And still learning.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, because it's because we're continuing to obviously, as time goes by, every year we're learning so much more about the body and about the brain and about the impact our physical health has on our mental health and the connections and everything, right? So we wanted to talk today just kind of in a back and forth conversational way about the many ways, in fact 12 ways, that exercise really helps to boost our overall mental health. Number one, because I think a lot of people and we've talked a lot about this, about people living in a stressed state.
And stress is a part of life.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have it.
Right. And I'm not talking about healthy stress either,
No.
because physical output,
Yes.
physical exercise is a form of stress.
That's right.
It's just a form of healthy stress. Right. And some people abuse it, and it becomes
almost an addiction.
Right. To the point of where their health is actually compromised.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think we both agree that people who are more active, who live a life of that's much of activity and movement, engagement, tend to probably have a reduced stress, or it's a stress reducer to be active.
And probably healthier coping mechanisms. Just you can't avoid stress. I don't think you can avoid stress. But again, it's if you are engaged, social, active, healthy, eating well, like kind of the holistic approach of doing more of the good things, I like to call it, looking after yourself. Yeah. Your ability to manage or cope with your stress is better because you're kind of on a bit of a more even keel. Doesn't mean you're not going to have high points, low points. I mean, that's just life. Yeah. But if you're doing more of the good things and taking care of yourself, your ability to manage is going to be better than someone who's not.
Yeah, absolutely right. And you start to get used to that. What we like to say is our that chemical response that we have.
Fight or flight.
Right. Well, the release of endorphins.
Yes.
How much better we instantly feel when we get up from our seat, up from our desk, up out of our car. Just think about a long car ride. How people, I mean, obviously if you're driving through a very scenic, beautiful area, it can be a little bit different, but just the way our bodies feel, how lethargic we feel, how kind of off we feel. But once we're out of the car and moving around, it's like within minutes we're feeling a little bit better, our spirits are up. Why do you think? Why is it that our mental health all of a sudden seems that much better? Because we're just moving. Yeah, I mean, there's a massive correlation there. So, and then you get to like confidence. So people associate quite often their physical appearance with the confidence, right? The way they carry themselves, the way they walk tall, their shoulders are back, their head is up, not slouching and stuff. And you can kind of almost fake it till you make it with a lot of that stuff, because I think a lot of us realize that if we do stand tall, we do stand proud, that you can actually put yourself in a better physical or mental state.
You're almost more awake, more alert, more present.
Yeah. And I can speak from experience that standing does a lot more for your energy, because I'm a stander, and I went to a standing desk earlier this year, and I've been standing for 6 months now. I mean, before you even started, I stand and work all day long, and that's not anything new. There's a lot of people doing it with the stand-up desks becoming so prevalent now. But I'll tell you, I only really sit like in a video like this when I'm driving or when I'm eating. Otherwise, I'm pretty much
Standing.
up all the time, and it does so much for you, I think, mentally, and just your focus and your energy. I don't feel that afternoon sluggishness, that lag that a lot of us hit at like 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So that's always good. And we have to touch on the outdoors. And just fresh air and getting outside and vitamin D and sunshine and that the power that has on our mental state.
We just the other day, because we do a team workout. We always try to do team workout almost every day. And was it yesterday or the day before? Instead of doing a gym workout, we went out and did the run.
Yeah. It was awesome. Yeah,
it was awesome.
4 of us from here, and we'll start doing that more often.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it took this long to start doing it, but it is so incredibly hot and humid in Florida still. So I think once the weather breaks a little bit in our favor, we'll be doing that more often, because I think an hour out of the building where we were all together and we were just walking and talking and jogging and moving, and it just felt amazing. And we came back to work and just felt rejuvenated. So I get outside, get some fresh air. So another really great thing about exercise and movement is our overall cognitive ability. As you've noticed, and I've noticed, people that are getting up in age and they start to move less and less, what seems to happen?
And slow down. And there's massive, I mean, there's so much out there right now in research, and some very exciting new stuff coming up. Just that we're going to be able to take correlation out of it and actually be like evidence proves. I mean, everything's connected. So if this stops moving, this definitely doesn't move at the, so everything just gets like bogged down and slowed down. And it's something that we have power over controlling. Right?
I mean, you can't, I don't think anybody would even try to disprove the mind-body connection. Right? The mind moves the body, but the body moves the mind. The two are so intimately connected. And when we start to not give attention to one or the other, they both suffer. So absolutely, just never stop moving.
Right.
Because you want your upstairs to always be
right. And aging is a process that all of us are in. I mean, we're in the process of aging right now, right?
That's right.
But it's we have an element of control in what that looks like and feels like in terms of quality and longevity. And we're not talking about training like athletes. We're not talking about training for marathons, or we're not asking people in their golden years to start running 3-4 miles a day. We're just talking about moving, because I think it can become, as people get older, there's always that increased chances, you start to lose loved ones. Not everybody lives forever. And so there is probably a bit more potential perhaps to maybe become alone and sedentary, so becoming withdrawn a little bit from society, less engaged. So it may take a little more effort, and that's where family members and people can step in and try to keep aging parents and siblings and aunts and uncles engaged and moving, because it is so important. It gives them a quality of life. It keeps them actively engaged, because the brain doesn't thrive in isolation.
No.
It actually starts to shrink. Like the tissue starts to shrink, and that further facilitates this rapid decline, which we can't prevent all things from happening, but we can do a lot of really good things to give ourselves a better chance.
No doubt about it. You got to give yourself a fighting chance. Now, very similar to what we started with, we were talking about stress and its effect on stress. A form of stress, is anxiety. People suffer with anxiety over just everything, every move they make, every decision that they come across and throughout their day. Overthinking things, and just the fact that the physical element there can just help to alleviate, I think, some of that just
heaviness.
The heaviness that bogged down. Or that
It's one or the other.
Some
right?
people, they just don't know how to sit still.
Anxiety is an extreme emotion on either end.
So just having that other way to that other funnel, the other way to funnel your energy, another outlet is, I think, crucial. And I mean, why do we give children all this playtime and recess and stuff? Their bodies and their minds
full
and everything is just full. And you could call them anxious, right? Kids are very anxious, right? They're impatient. They want
learning.
Yeah, and so I think getting some of that physical energy out really helps the mind to clear a little bit and focus, and you can stay on track. Exactly right. So I think that's huge. I mean, obviously we already kind of touched on it, but it's a little bit different. Just boosting your overall capacity, your overall brain power, by being more physically active, by exercising more. Exercise making you actually smarter.
And when you think about it from, if we want to get a little bit sciencey, blood runs through the body.
Yes. And
blood is the transportation highway for oxygen. Every cell in the body needs oxygen. So if you're moving, that blood flow is it's happening. You can increase it with exercise. So in doing that delivery of oxygen to your brain cells, I mean, it makes sense, right?
Makes sense. And that's, I mean, just on a side note, why deep breathing, instead of shallow breathing up here, we talk a lot about in past videos, deep breathing. Breathe into your belly. Sit somewhere quiet with your eyes closed and just take in big, deep, slow breaths, and I assure you, you'll feel better.
Yes,
I mean, it's
you really
so,
will.
So oxygenating the body and the brain just has nothing but positive impact on you. And having a sharper memory.
Yes.
Recalling things. So the more physically active you are, whether that's through walking, swimming, any type of aerobic and anaerobic or strength training, can actually help you have maybe more ability to recall things in your memory, an experience or an event in your life, a person in your life, a connection to something or somebody. And I think that's huge, right? Because why are pictures so important to us? We can look at a picture and remember an entire event, they represent something very, very important to us. That's why we hang them in our houses and have them on our desks. And so that's kind of what I think of when I think of like a sharper memory. For me, it's like having that little video or that snapshot in my mind of something, and then really being able to like almost put myself back to that point. Yeah. And you can get that through being more active, no doubt about it.
So another way that exercise has a positive impact on mental health is the release of dopamines, right? So that is, like the reward chemical. That's the chemical that our brain makes and releases in the body for things that make us feel good. Yeah. And actually, there has been some test group studies done that shows that the release of dopamine can help counter, addictive behaviors, personalities. Yeah. It's not a cure-all. It's obviously part of the process, but I mean, let's think about that when, people go in for treatment and they're wanting to get help, whatever the addiction is. Usually a part of the rehabilitative process and their lifelong kind of program in recovery is to include exercise. I mean, there's a lot of other things, diet and everything, but already at that point, counselors, therapists, doctors know that getting these people moving daily, weekly, getting them into some sort of consistent exercise program or just moving, getting out of the house, getting out of the chair, has a very positive, tremendous impact on countering a lot of that addictive behavior, those patterns that they had.
Yeah. That's fantastic. It's so true. I mean, I've lived a life of activity, so I guess
so that's your addiction.
I guess I just feel fortunate. Yeah, I mean, I actually do. I can't say I get depressed because I don't get depressed, but I definitely, if I go a week without a lot of activity, I definitely start to feel like bogged down or foggy or irritated, more irritable. Just almost like just frustration and stuff, because I have such a need for some type of physical component in my day-to-day, and so also good having young children because you kind of are forced to be active. By
default, you have to.
You have to be. So what in terms of exercise helping our mental state is our ability to relax better. The more physically active that we are, I think the better that we are at night when it comes to calming down and getting good rest and being more in a rhythm or in a good a pattern, I guess you could say, of being active certain hours of the day, and then being able to unplug and be inactive. And it's so important and it's not just about getting good sleep. Relaxation, I talked about breathing, doing something that's very calming to you, that gets your mind kind of in a nice state or in a nice place. That could be just going outside and sitting and reading, and looking out at the water, or looking out at anything that gives you some kind of peace. Something that brings you back to center.
Yeah. Center.
Yeah. And I don't think a lot of us do that at all. We know we have to pay our bills, and we know we have to be there for our children or our partners or spouses. Yeah. And we know we have to put gas in our car, and we know all these things that we have to do.
Responsibility.
But we're very bad at giving ourselves a break and giving ourselves some time. And I'm not saying it has to be even a whole hour. It can be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but that goes such a long way to rejuvenating you mentally. And so I can't speak,
push away from the
highly
desk
enough
for
about
10
that.
minutes,
Yeah.
push away, turn away from the computer, and just put your mind somewhere else. Stand up, walk around.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So an easy way to do it is actually go ahead and just pencil it in.
Yes.
To your, if you're successful most times in life, it's because you have a plan or some type of agenda that you create for yourself on a daily or weekly basis. Most of us, kind of like have to go to our calendar, right, to do things, whether at work or in our personal life. Oh, let me check see what I got going on. Well, pencil in 10-minute walk or 15-minute this or 20-minute this that is going to be able to give you some of that physical health priority, benefit. And you had said something earlier on or prior to us filming that you'll be better at whatever it is you're going to do next if you give yourself that 10. Don't think of it as
I don't have time.
I don't have time to do this. You'll be so much more productive.
Absolutely.
By doing something, whether it's the breathing or the sitting and relaxing with a read or something like that. But in terms of physical output or exercise, I think you come back recharged and better, like you talked about our walk the other day, our walk jog. You come back and you perform better. You're energized, and I think you're at a higher level.
Right. Well, we were supposed to have a meeting at 1:30.
Yeah.
But because we went to that spot to do the loop, right? And so we didn't get back till 1:30, and all of us still needed to have lunch, and some of us need to shower and stuff.
Right.
But we got our meeting done, and I got quite a bit accomplished that after, like a lot more accomplished that afternoon had we just not done that.
You come the productivity and the energy, and we all know what happens at that like 2-3 o'clock time in the day. Most of us, if we've been going since 8 or 9 in the morning, we get to that 5, 6, 7 hours in, and we start to lose our mojo. So this is like a mojo maker, is that little extra juice that we get from the physical activity for our mental well-being.
Right. So you can spend the rest of your afternoon fighting that and working through at a slower pace with probably less creative results or whatever the output is that you're wanting, or taking 15, even 30 minutes and giving your body give it some exercise, give your brain a break, and coming back and probably increasing your output, productivity, and the greater results than just fighting and struggling to the end of the day, right?
Yes. And you just said it, creativity, which is kind of our last point. Right?
Yeah.
So not only are you more productive, you're probably more creative.
Problem solving's better, creativity's, you know, when you think of, like, I hate to-do lists because it's very mundane. all of us have lots of projects on the go. And our projects are about creating products and things with it, like this result. And I'm very visual, so I always think about what is that desired outcome? What do I want it to look like? What do I want it to sound like? First thing in the morning, it's bright, it's colorful, it's got all the energy behind it. And by about 2 o'clock, I'm like, I'm kind of struggling, you know. We take our breaks, we do those team workouts, and it's back.
Yep.
You know, it's back.
Yep. Yeah, and it's not about, most people will, you know, they want to just get their 8 hours of work in or whatever, but it's about what do you can be more productive in 2 hours.
Yes.
If you're coming into it with the right mental state and the right creative magic, that probably stems from your physical,
in the zone.
Being in the zone. And so I can't say enough about exercise and its impact on your mental state, your mental capacity. I can only speak from experience, from all my years working in this industry, as I know you can, and the people that we've been around and worked with, that their physical state directly impacted their mental well-being, their mental state, their performance, their confidence, just everything.
It's a whole picture, because we're not talking about achieving a physical aesthetic. We're not talking about, you know, training for something specific. We're talking about what you're doing with your body, moving, exercising, and how that has such a profound positive impact on the quality of life you live getting older and aging.
Yeah, right. Longevity, but gracefully, quality,
longevity, because you know, we are all going to get older.
Yep.
But what do you want that? You know, I always ask people, what do you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel? What, you know, what does that look like in your head?
Right.
You know, and are you sitting at home watching old reruns of favorite shows, or are you out with the grandkids?
Yeah.
You know, like, what does it? You know, what is that? What do you want? And here's something that we can actually do that has a huge impact. Huge impact. Yeah,
huge. It's amazing. Well, I hope you got some help out of that, or some nuggets out of that, or took a note or two. Go back and rewatch a few minutes. It's really interesting conversation, and we'll be doing more talk about our mental health, our brain health, and its connection to our physical health. And we thank you so much, Coach Tonya, Coach Chris. Thank you for watching. I hope you got a lot out of this. Please be sure to like this video, leave us some comments or questions below that you might have for us. Interact with us. We have a daily video on our YouTube channel. So every single day, a new topic that's, you know, somewhat connected to physical health or mental health or fitness in some way. And thanks again, and we'll see you. But before you go, check out this free report.